Welcome to my first video on the challenge from the Mini Painting Noob. And you might notice that we have a little bit of a different backdrop today. So first, the grand reveal. The grand reveal. Here is the miniature that I chose before I knew what colors I had. And that is a Space Marine. Okay, now you're probably surprised, because I don't paint a lot of Space Marines. I don't think I've actually painted one on the channel. But here is this Space Marine. And the reason why it's in this different backdrop from usual is because, well, I'm taking the challenge from the Mini Painting Noob seriously. And that is, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to prime this guy up with an airbrush. That's right. You get to watch my first experience in using an airbrush. And so I happen to have picked one up the other day. This is a Master brand airbrush, and I've got a compressor with it as well. And so you'll get to see that more when I do a full review on it. But for now, we're going to try to do some kind of Zenithal highlight on this. And you can watch along, laugh along. Let's figure out how this goes. I do have a glove on. I found a yellow kind of clear glove. At least this will protect my hand from paint. I have my airbrush, and I have 3 paints from the Army Painter. They're airbrush primers. So these are air primers in matte black, matte gray, and matte white. And so we're going to go ahead and start off. I've shaken these really good, but we're going to shake this up really good. And I'm going to put in a good bit of this, I guess, into my airbrush. We'll see. I know I'll have to clean it out, but we're going to probably do some takes and cuts and things on this video, which is another thing that's a little bit new on this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 7, 8, 9, 10 drops. I don't know. I don't know how many drops it takes to prime a miniature. Like I said, I've never done this before, so that looks like a decent amount of paint. I don't know. You're going to hear the airbrush, the compressor kick on, so if I can do it without any paint, you're going to hear that a little bit. I've tried to minimize that sound, so hopefully it doesn't come through too bad. Let's give this a little test here. Oh yeah, I got some black going. Look at that. All right. Here we go on our miniature. Oh wow, that is going right on. Look at that. Woo! So we're going to prime this guy all black to start. Nice. Just still got some paint in there a little bit. Okay. And I'll come back here once I got this black coat fully on. I'm going to focus more on the details here than on filming for the last bit of this. Alright, I think the black is dry now, so we have a black primed Space Marine, but I want to try Zenithal. So, out comes the matte gray. I'm not really quite sure what color of gray from the Army Painter this would be equivalent to. So I don't know if, you know, I don't think it's supposed to be any certain color of gray. I think it's just a matte gray primer that they made specifically for this airbrush line. But whatever gray it is, maybe we'll do a color compare on it here sometime. We're going to go ahead and put some into our airbrush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe 6 or so drops of that. The 10 or 12 drops of the black was a good bit over what I needed. I don't know exactly how much, so I'm going to have to do some experimenting around with that. But we've got our gray in there, and so we're going to try a little bit of a Zenithal. So let's see here how this is going to kind of work with the gray. I think I'm going to be glad I have these gloves on for one. I think I'm going to try to kind of spray it down from the top. Oh, that's okay. So that's kind of That's a little bit more flaky than I was thinking this is going to be. Maybe I should cut down on my air pressure a little bit. So one thing that my airbrush has is the ability to, you can pull, you push down and it does air, and you pull back to basically control how much paint it puts out. So I think that's a little bit better. So I'm not pulling back so far and it's being less grainy. I'm going to try to kind of do a nice zenithal here. I want to, I still got some paint in there, I do, okay. I want to get like his top pretty good though. So like the shoulder pads and things, I want to be pretty well covered over with this gray. Only leaving that black in the really deep recesses, so even like some areas in there, like his shoulder pad area there, I want to get a little bit more of this gray on there. So you see I'm kind of evening that out a little bit while still keeping the nice dark shades down in those recesses. So let's do that a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more here on his gun. Alright. And I'm going to kind of just go a little bit up down on his armor there. Because I don't want a lot of black on the model, honestly. I want some, but I really don't want a lot. And so I am going to kind of do this a little bit maybe heavier than you would a white zenithal over a black. I'm going to do this a little bit heavier than that. So let's see how he's doing. It's looking pretty good. Definitely got the zenithal going on. You've got the dark and the light. You can just see that in the camera. See how he looks very bright from that angle. You can see those dark shadows. I'm going to get the side of his helmet here. A little bit of this. The black I think I put on a little bit too heavy. It took a little while to dry. So I'm glad I did a little cut there. But otherwise, this guy's looking pretty good. Try to even him up a little bit, and then we'll maybe call this color good on him. And we might go right into white, because this is actually basically dry at this point. So, alright, I might do a little touch-up with him here as I do another cut, but then we'll come back and we'll get that white layer on next. Alright, so we're back with our black Zenithal Space Marine. Looking pretty good from underneath, nice and dark still. And decent, I don't know, decent Zenithal. Definitely on the brighter side maybe of a Zenithal than what I might want to do in the future, but I don't know. This gray is a really light gray, so I would actually be very curious to compare this to like a gray seer or something, which we'll probably have to do in a future video. Alright, we're going to do some matte white. I am going to put just an absolutely tiny bit of this on this miniature. Is kind of my goal here. And the reason why is because I want the gray mostly. I want the gray mostly on this guy. And part of the reason why is because that sneaky Mini Painting Noob picked a very light color of blue as one of the colors. And I gotta say, I'm probably going ultramarine with this guy. I mean, you know, come on, classic Space Marine. By the way, I put the white paint in there kind of off camera. I was trying to see if there was, it looked like there might have been a little bit of gray left in there, but I think I got it rinsed out pretty good. So I'm thinking I'm going ultramarine, but I want to keep a little bit of that gray just to make sure that, you know, it darkens it up maybe a little bit. So maybe I'm cheating, I don't know. All right. We're going to try just ever so slightly, little bit of paint here. And just give him just a highlight of white. Just ever so slightly there. Just barely a little bit of white. Just kind of from just this top high extreme angle. I don't hardly want actually much more than that on him. So he's definitely got a gray, a black, and a white, and that is my first time doing this on any model, actually, doing the airbrush priming. So there you go. There is my airbrush primed Space Marine, ready for the challenge from the Mini Painting Noob. I don't think I'm gonna even spray them anymore off camera. That just little bit of extra white, hard to see on the camera because the light is so bright on it. But that's it. That's our Space Marine. That's what we're gonna start with when we get putting on our speed paints in the next video. I think I'm gonna cut that video together so that we have all of that together. So, airbrush primer, there we go. We'll see what I come up with for actually painting this guy. I've got some ideas to use those colors, and we'll talk about that in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Let's get gaming.